Hello, everyone. This is Akhier, and well, it might be a little self-evident what we're here for. Um, this is one of the things I've decided I want to do for this channel. It's not a new thing. People read SCP Wiki entries a lot on the web, but I enjoy them, and so here we are. This first video will end with me reading an entry. However, to start, I'm going to go through a bunch of stuff just to give you like a basic bit of information on everything. If you've never heard of SCP, the idea is it's a collaborative project that a bunch of strange, cryptid, kind of paranormal, weird stuff is like recorded and all these fun stories about it and whatnot. The entries are like each one is this weird thing or phenomena, and honestly, it's probably going to expand. It's probably going to explain this as I look through like the getting started stuff. But I figured, why not? Oh, the SCP Foundation is a clandestine organization dedicated to containing dangerous and incomprehensible horrors, keeping them safely from the light of day, or so goes their mission statement. Do you wish to peer beyond the veil? But, let's see. I had a button I want. Was it the guide for newcomers? That is important and one that I want to go to. Um, is it the about? No. Though that does seem like a good thing to read. Or actually, well, I'm thinking about it, I was going to do this, but I wanted to start just on the basic. Yes, there we go. 170% zoom. There we go. About the SCP Foundation. Mankind, in its present state, has been around for a quarter of a million years, yet only a small fraction has been of any significance. So, what did we do for nearly 250,000 years? We huddled in caves and around small fires, fearful of the things that we didn't understand. It was more than explaining why the sun came up. It was the mystery of enormous birds with heads of man and rocks that came to life. So we called them gods and demons, begged them to spare us, and prayed for our salvation. In time, their numbers dwindled and ours rose. The world began to make more sense when there were fewer things to fear. Yet the unexplained can never truly go away, as if the universe demands the absurd and impossible. Mankind must not go back to hiding in fear. No one will protect us, and we must stand up for ourselves. While the rest of mankind dwells in the light, we must stand in the darkness to fight it, contain it, and shield it from the eyes of the public, so that others may live in a sane and normal world. We secure, we contain, we protect. The Administrator. Mission Statement. Operating clandestine worldwide, the Foundation acts beyond conventional jurisdiction with the task of containing anomalous artifacts, or anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena. We maintain an extensive database of information regarding anomalies requiring special containment procedures, commonly referred to SCPs, SCIPs, all of which undermine the natural laws that people of the world implicitly trust in. We operate to maintain normalcy, so that the worldwide civilian population can live and go on with their daily lives without fear, mistrust, or doubt in their personal belief, and to maintain human independence from extraterrestrial, extradimensional, and other extra normal influence. Our mission is threefold. Secure. We want to secure anomalies to prevent them from falling in the hands of civilian or rival agencies through extensive observation surveillance, acting to intercept anomalies at the earliest opportunity. Contain. Contain anomalies to prevent spread of their influence or effects by either relocating, concealing, or or not speaking, or dismantling them, or by suppressing public decimation. Contain is really messing with my tongue. They contain my ability to speak, or by suppressing public dissemination of knowledge thereof. And protect. Protect humanity as well as the anomalies themselves until such a time that they are either fully understood or new theories of science can be devised based on their properties and behaviors. Additional information will have been provided upon you joining us in our pursuit of our goal. Welcome to the Foundation, and good luck. That's the Universe Hub. Okay. And then about us. This is the out of character one. The Skip Wiki is a collaborative speculative fiction website about the SCP Foundation. And yes, that's how I'm going to go with it. When it's the so-and-so Foundation, I'm probably going to say out the letters SCP. In fact, most of the time, and whenever I think of it, where I'm thinking SCP. However, someone that speaks in a format like this, even though I haven't done it much in recent years, I understand the reason why a lot of creators in the space call them skips. Because SCP does not roll off the tongue like skip does. Or at least, maybe it's not widespread, but some of the people that I watch in the space do refer to them as such, and I find it easier to speak, which, as just shown, is probably a good thing for all involved. So here we are. The Wiki is a collaborative effort made possible by the contributions of hundreds of authors. I've never done anything to contribute, despite being a writer as my main job. I don't have a reason why not. I enjoy the fantasy, the fiction. However, it's not really what I write in. So, I write short stories and very, very long stories, but it is what it is. I respect to anyone that managed to get their stuff in here. And even those that don't, just writing anything. If you write at all, props to you. We need more people who not only write and read, but just like in general. So, if you want to become a part of the SCP Wiki, you can apply to become a site member. Guide for newcomers. I think that was this one. And that's where I'm probably going to go to next. I'll start skipping over stuff that I've read before. You can also add to the conversation by commenting in the forums, IRC, or Discord. The SCP Wiki and its contents are released under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0 unsupported or unported. Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0 unported license. For information, read the licensing guide. I'm not going to read the licensing guide for this video because that sounds... Well, there are people that do legal matters on YouTube, and I don't think they're reading this stuff aloud, so, For additional questions, see frequently asked questions. Site rules. Or is this literally just... Okay, no, that's a separate one. The SCP Wiki strives to be an open and welcoming space for readers and contributors. Community members are expected to maintain a basic level of courtesy. Don't be a dick. Please don't. Towards this end, everyone should keep in mind the following guidelines. Note that these are not hard and fast laws, nor are they fully comprehensive. Use your common sense. And this stuff. The don't be a dick rule. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff here. Let's actually go to site rules next. Rule 0, don't be a dick. Problem solved. People don't follow that rule often enough. Goodness gracious, look at the world. Interactions and behavior. There's voting on the posts and articles and stuff. I must admit, most of my interaction with SCP up until now has very much been just reading. While writing my stuff, I always ask people to review and stuff, and I don't blame people who don't. I'm not very good at it myself. Yeah, you may vote on any article on the site for any reason you like, as long as your reasoning is based solely on the content of the article, so on and so forth. You can vote or even downvote your article as you like. Fair enough. Brigading, calling for group downvoting or group upvoting is prohibited. Don't do that. If you ever think I'm telling you to vote on anything, don't. I'm not. In fact, think of this like observing wildlife. Being in like one of those wildlife preserves where it's like we're looking in on their stuff. Now, admittedly, as the guide, I'm sort of in it myself, and if you become a part of it, that's a different thing. But at this point, if you're just watching me go over the skip stuff, you're not only not in it, you're at a remove beyond just a remove. So there's that. Comments. Comment almost anywhere as long as you're respectful, blah, blah, blah. Important, don't be a dick. Rule 0. Forum activity. I've never actually been on the forum. Like I said, mostly I've just been reading articles. Don't make contentless or excessive short posts. Spam. Don't bump threads for attention. Don't post on threads more than a few months old if you're not contributing substantially. It's an inclusive environment. Hate speech and slurs are not tolerated. I don't tolerate them. If I see them in the comments, get out. In fact, don't make them in the comments at all. Double get out. Every image posted to the forum or discussion threads must be collapsed. Check the formatting guide. Oh, don't double post. Do not post a large number of low quality using images. Must follow the rules for the image use. Plagiarism, don't. Collaborative posting. All post work must be written by the user that posts the work unless specifically noted as being a collaboration between one or more site users. Cool. Serving hours that are improperly attributed will given a grace period. Content posting by banned. Users currently banned from the site may not submit new content to the site in any way. This includes articles, forum posts, and all other forms of content. Site members may not post content authored by a banned user or make posts or edits on a banned user's behalf, except as described below. I don't know anyone that's banned. If I ever knew someone was banned, I guess I'd go back and read that. But, yeah. Editing. Bunch on editing. AI generated content. This is what I was looking for. This is what I'm here. I'm probably going to bail out and go start reading the other stuff after I get through this. The use of generative machine learning models to generate or edit user-facing content is banned. Posting generative machine learning, AI generated content to the SCP Foundation Wiki, the associated forums, or any official sandbox in violation of this rule will result in a permanent ban. This ban may be appealed through the standard disciplinary process. Good faith exceptions for images. Users will not be banned for making use of AI generated images from external sources provide all the following conditions. They had no knowledge that it was AI generated. After having done a reasonable amount of diligence, the image is cited properly when used on the wiki and appears to be compliant with both our policies and the image use policy. The image was not created by, for, or at the behest of the user who posted it to the wiki. So basically, if you didn't know it was one, if then you also cited it properly, so it's not like you didn't grab it from Al's big barn of AI slop and it's like, well, I don't know. And like people can be like, oh, no, I honestly didn't think so myself either. Okay, cool. All pages containing AI-generated text will be eligible for summary deletion under the standard summary deletion procedure. All AI-generated images and other media will be removed by staff, irrespective of whether the good faith exception applies. So even if you didn't know it was AI, once it's found out to be AI, gone. Furthermore, the usage of tools whose primary use is generative machine learning is also banned for user-facing content. Examples of banned content include, but not limited to, any ChatGPT, any slop-generated text or images, including modifications of existing text or images, Mid-Journey Stable Diffusion, AI voice generation, almost any system which generates text or media in response to a free text prompt. Don't do it. Examples of loud content. I'm a little bit iffy on this, but okay. AI generates CSS code. I guess to be fair, there's a lot less it can mess up with. Oh, and these are, I don't know, DeepL translator. I don't know what that means. But fractal generation, that's completely different. And traditional text to speech, if license compatible, yeah. I love me some of those traditional text to speech. Used to play around with them all the time on my PC when I was a kid. And then we go over all the other stuff and the appeals. But yeah, the other things, I'll read this too. Other things that can get you in trouble. Behavior that indistinguishable from trolling. When it comes to trolling, staff take an if it looks like a duck approach. So if you keep saying, I'm not trolling, but it looks like trolling, even if you legit are not trolling, you trolling. Rating another site. Do not use the wiki or related platforms to organize disruption of the normal operation of another site. Straightforward. Stirring up shit. We're way far enough in the video. This means a pattern of constantly towing the line of unacceptable behavior. I'm not touching you. 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 Ooh, don't pay attention to the fingernail. I need to get them trimmed. Art plagiarism. Don't do it. Vandalism and unacceptable offsite behavior. So yeah, if you do horrible stuff on other sites and it gets back to the SCP Wiki, well, I've got some bad news for you. And 4 rules on all this other stuff, kind of handy. But yeah, before I started this was the one thing that I went and checked out. Because like I passively read it and I don't really get, like I said, I've not been on the forums, I haven't done much. I mostly read articles or watch someone else read them. So here we are. This is what I looked before I decided to do a video on it. Because I don't like slop. I'm not a pig. Okay. Guide for newcomers. Hello, new user, and welcome to the Skip Wiki. I'm sure you already had a lot of questions before you even clicked this guide. What is the site? Blah, blah, blah. Lots of stuff. Okay, this is where we basically read this already. But it looks like it's got some stuff that might be a little new. So, The SCP Foundation Wiki, collaborative writing site based around the premise that, in essence, magic is real. It's not exactly like traditional fantasy style magic you've come to know, but that's the best way to describe the stuff that we have here. Anomalies, items and critters that do not follow the rules of nature as we know them, staircases that go on forever, mechanical gods from the beginning of time, otherwise regular humans who shape reality with their minds. These are the kind of things that, if known to the public, could cause mass hysteria and start wars on scales unprecedented. Due to that, there exists an organization called the SCP Foundation whose job is to research paranormal activity, keep these creatures and objects concealed from the public, and protect humanity from the horrors of the dark. So yeah, if Cthulhu was real, SCP would be the people handling it. That's the long and short of it. The site is a place where a bunch of different people write stories about an organization that keeps the inexplicable under lock and key, except instead of just calling it magic, we use sciencey terms like ontokinesis and thaumatology. The wiki started as a horror creepypasta site, so the majority of older content is focused around that. But since then, we've expanded our horizons, and nowadays you can find any type of writing you want, from novella-length adventures to one-line jokes. Why is everything contradictory? Here we go. Some new stuff. Well, the other stuff had some new things, but I read a few of the intro things. To reach over 10,000 articles on site, we had to let go of the idea of a singular canon, meaning that every article on the site is allowed to contradict and disregard any other article, no matter how well known or popular. Did someone say the Foundation was formed in the 1960s, but you need the Foundation to exist in World War I? Foundation now from the 19th century. Sure. You want a foundation that has more resources than the eye can see? Go wild. You want a foundation that's penniless? Why not? As long as the story is interesting, your freedom is basically unlimited. While this is often phrased as there is no canon, this doesn't mean that nothing on the site can coexist. Many articles can share the same universe and some explicitly reference each other. It just means that you don't have to try and fit everything into a singular version of the Foundation. This is where I want to be like the little multi-dimensional. It can all fit together. It all coexists. Okay. Technically, I guess. Technically, it could be canon with us right now. That'd be fun. But this is basically just saying the articles, while they might fit together, some of them, they don't have to. So it's okay if you find one that's not matching another one. And that's a good thing. Due to the scientific and clinical tone most of the site aims for, there are a few terms used in articles that may confuse new readers, such as anomaly or anomalous. Anything that doesn't follow the rules of reality as we know them. Object classes. Each anomaly contained by the Foundation has an assigned object class, which tells you how difficult it is to contain. The three most common classes are safe, meaning containment is simple. You put in a box. I'm not going to go into the box metaphor because that really goes off the rails quickly. Euclid, meaning containment is more complex. And Keter. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, Keter, meaning containment is very difficult to maintain. Mobile Task Forces, MTF. Elite units for responding to and containing anomalies. Depending on the anomaly, these range from paramilitary teams to groups of specialized researchers. Group of interest. Groups other than the Foundation that deal with or handle the anomalous. That's right. I think. Oh well. This is not a comprehensive list of such terms. Other unfamiliar words may be listed in our glossary terms, or may be technical terms you can look up online. A lot of the time, authors use real scientific terms to add some flavor to their articles. Community and staff. Writing isn't all our staff have to offer. There's artwork by amazing artists, audio readings of articles. And many ways to get involved with our community. This includes our site forum, the IRC, the Discord, and our presence on multiple social media platforms. However, with a site this large, there's an equally large need to polish and maintain the different aspects of the site. In come the SCP Wiki staff. Their staff are site members who volunteer for tasks ranging from out or outdating, updating site polishing and guides to dealing with the utter chaos that is our chat. There are a variety of teams on the site, all of which can be found here, but two teams you'll probably need to know out of the gate are the disciplinary team, DISC, and the anti-harassment team, OT. The disciplinary team's job is to deal with users who repeatedly break the site rules, what we just went over. And oh, is this the page I was looking for? No? No. I'm going with no. There was a page I found that I was happy with, but apparently not. Now what? And then we get into that. Did I care about this? Is SCP real? No. And no, it's not, obviously, but no. Let's get the guide to reading. If you're new to the Skip Wiki or returning to it after a while, technically I am. I haven't read it in a little bit. I occasionally come back and just read like a brevy of pages. You may be confused about the best way to approach it. Unlike most forms of fiction, there is no canon or central storyline. While it's liberating to be told that you can technically start anywhere, even with a completely random SCP. Press that, get a random SCP. Cool. Having too many options, not understanding what's going on, is an issue newcomers often face. This tool will focus more on navigating the site and finding this guide will focus more on navigating the site and finding new material to read rather than giving details about the fictional Foundation. If you just want to dive in and immerse yourself in the setting, that's there's an in-character introduction, and that's the Universe Hub, which I think was the one that... Oh no, I just have it clicked on because I clicked on it at some point. From the perspective of a new recruit to the Foundation. Navigational elements. There's elements. Tabs, footnotes. It's a wiki. Where should I start reading? Well, the obvious thing to do would be to read the SCPs in order. Skips in order. I intend to make sure I start using that. Skip instead of SCP. Because my tongue twists every time. Starting at 1 and working your way up. There's a few reasons why we don't recommend this. The first is that Series 1, Skip 2 to Skip 999 contains the oldest work on the site, having been written so far back, or as far back as 2008. While we're fond of Series 1, we like to think we've improved as a writing community over time. If you only read the first series, you'll be missing out on our more recent work. We also have a lot of fiction that's not written in the skip format on the site. You'll miss these tales if you only read skips. Skip 1 itself is another matter entirely because there's no single article called SCP-1. The slot is instead left open to allow any author to write a proposal for what SCP-001 might be. Most of these proposals present themselves as the first or most important skip, and they tend to be much wider in scope than a regular article. We definitely recommend checking them out at some point, but they're not intended to be the first SCP you read, and you'll probably understand them better if you read some other article first. I have read it in the past, multiple times, because, as I said, it's something they're working on. I will not read that anytime soon for this. Reading recommendations. If you want to read the classics, our most popular articles are listed on top rated pages. However, part of the reason these are so highly rated is because they've been around for a long time. Try new pages feed, top rated page for this month for newer content, and top rated pages by year to get a better idea how the site has progressed over time. If you want to get more specific stuff, there's user curated lists and stories. Although we don't have a single canon that all articles follow, we do have a number of canons intended to be more consistent. Think of these as shared universes that multiple authors can write in, building on each other's work. If the premise of the canon sounds interesting to you, it's worth checking out the articles in it. And of course, there's a bunch of other stuff. Article, Joke SCPs, Wanderer's Library, which is a sister site, and a bunch of other stuff. I can't remember which was the. There was one that I really liked. I'm not seeing it off the top of my head. But yeah, you see the kind of stuff that we're talking about with that. So we'll just leave that alone for right now. Oh, and here's the in-universe. It's getting a little long. I guess before I start reading this, I'll talk about what I intend for this series, because it will be a series. I intend to basically read articles. Nothing new there, but as we just read, the early articles, obviously creepypasta, horror, and they progressed onto other kind of paranormal stuff beyond just that. However, it is classic. For those in the know, the first article I'm going to read on this video is Peanut. But it's got my name there. Because I got it signed in. But the general idea is that I'm going to have, as I say, it gets into the 30-minute mark, I'm going to have shorter, just like, here's an article, and color commentary. Because I can comment. That's part of reading. At the very least, I can flub my words, and I'm sure that'll be hilarious. More than enough time. Okay, welcome to the SCP Foundation, researcher. It has likely been a difficult journey to finding yourself where you are today, having to be scouted out by people you've never met before, invited to exams and interviews for a position you were never fully told of. We can imagine you already have a few questions, whether it be where you are, who is here with you, or why you were chosen to be here. Many of these questions will not be, or many of these questions we will not be able to answer. Some of those we will. In interest of not making new personnel go through the first several weeks guessing what each task force site in acronym actually stands for, we have compiled all the information you'd reasonably need and can be given in a single automated message sent to every new group's personal inbox. We recommend going over these at your earliest convenience. And we did that. Yeah, let's pop that all open. Those are fun, but I'm not going to get too far into it. I'll check out the groups of interest real quick. Do I want to do K9? No. I'll pop it open. Additionally, as you're presently listed as a junior researcher, here's a few resources you may use in order to get better understanding of the anomalous and its limits, or lack thereof. Maybe this is where I want. Maybe it wasn't a joke article. No, I think it was a joke article. The log of extra-normal events has an internal reminder of unusual events which occurred too suddenly for Foundation intervention or designation. And let's see. This was the guide to reading. I want to pop open the top rated page. There we go. Yeah, I figured it was going to be right there. Object classes. This we've already done a little bit of. Safe, meaning it's safe. Euclid, harder to keep track of, but it is. Keter, or as a note, any SCP that's autonomous or sapient is generally classified as Euclid due to the inherent unpredictability of an object that can act or think on its own. Keter are anomalies that are exceedingly difficult to contain consistently or reliably, with containment procedures often being extensive and complex. The Foundation often can't contain these SCPs, due to not having a solid understanding of the anomaly or lacking the technology to properly contain or counter it. A Keter skip does not mean the skip is dangerous, just that it is very difficult or costly to contain. Thomule. Thomule skips are anomalies that the Foundation specifically uses to contain other skips. Even the mere existence of the Thomule class object is classified at the highest level of the Foundation, and their locations, functions, and current status are known to few Foundation personnel outside of the O5 Council, which we'll get into. And there's secondary classes, Apollyon anomalies that cannot be contained or expected to breach containment imminently, or some other similar situation. Usually associated with world-ending threats or K-class scenarios. Fair enough. Archeon. Anomalies that could theoretically be contained but are best left uncontained for some reason. Archeon skips may be part of consensus reality. I need a drink of water. Don't mind me. Maybe that'll help. These skips are not uncontainable. The defining feature of this class is that Foundation chooses to not put the anomalies in containment. Serenus. I've not heard of this one. Maybe I have, but I don't remember. Could be functionally contained, but logistical or ethical reasons, the Foundation has chosen not to at this time. The anomaly may still be partially contained or actively concealed from the public, but the cost of fully containing it are deemed to outweigh the benefits. For a complete list, there we go. Ticonderoga cannot be contained, but also do not need to be contained. While they're similar to Archeon in that their containment is unnecessary, the skips are distinguished by also not being contained given the Foundation's current knowledge and resources. This may be due to their widespread or ubiquitous occurrence on Earth, despite the general public remaining unaware of their existence or anomalous nature, although also includes extraterrestrial anomalies beyond the current reach of the Foundation. So, if something weird happened light years away, the Foundation can't really do much about that. So it's oopsie! And non-standard. Oh, I think this was where I wanted. No. But maybe? But yeah, maybe I'll look for it on the off time. But yeah, just their explained skips are objects which formerly classified as anomalies before being completely and fully understood to a point where their effects are now explainable by mainstream science, or were falsely identified as an anomaly before being debunked as a hoax or misunderstanding. While most of these articles are listed separately as explained, a main list skip may be reclassified as explained after further investigation into the apparent anomaly. Neutralize. Neutralize skips. Woe to the dragons. Objects were classified as anomalies, but are no longer anomalous due to the object being intentionally or accidentally destroyed or disabled, or simply due to its anomalous properties or effects ceasing. Decommissioned. Anomalies have been intentionally destroyed or stripped of their anomalous properties by the Foundation. As the Foundation usually tries to contain rather than neutralize anomalous objects, this object class is only used when it is not possible to fully contain an anomaly. Yeah, so this is when it wasn't intended, this is when it is by the Foundation. Pending, not yet assigned a class. Uncontained, not yet contained. Often, and esoteric. Oh, there's the box thing. I might as well read it since we're here. The locked box test is an informal guideline used to determine an object's most appropriate object class. It goes like this. If you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and nothing bad will happen, then it's probably safe. If you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and you're not entirely sure what will happen, then it's probably Euclid. If you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and it easily escapes, then it's probably Keter. If it is the box, then it's probably Thaumiel. Extending the anomaly to other object classes. This is where it starts to go out the guts. If it used to need a box but no longer does, it's neutralized. If this is because of deliberate decision by the Foundation, it's probably decommissioned. If it turns out it never needed to be put in the box in the first place, explained. If you can't put it in a box and it's about to end the world, then it's probably Apollyon. If you could have locked it in a box but chose not to due to dire consequences, then it's probably Archeon. If you could have locked it in a box but chose not to for practical or ethical reasons, then it's probably Senurian. Tongue twisting. If you can't fit it in a box, but that's not a big deal, then it's probably Ticonderoga. If you're not sure what box to put in yet, it's probably pending. And there's a bunch of fitness classes, and they stretch that box theming quite far. And there's a bunch more stuff, but I thought we weren't doing. Yeah, I thought they. Originally, the decommissioned object class was used by staff to place unwanted articles deemed to be low quality in a sort of wall of shame rather than simply deleting them, keeping them around to serve as an example of what not to do. This involved rewriting the article to describe as decommissioned, generally involving. Okay, yeah. So that's how it used to be. Now, the modern decommissioned object class, as described in the Decommissioning Department Hub, is very different. Although the name referenced the original process decommissioning, it's about exploring the reason why the SCP Foundation might want to destroy a particular SCP object for pragmatic or ethical reasons, and is not mocking low quality articles. That's good. Okay, close that. Oh, and this is where the boxes start to get a bit. Yeah. Security clearance. This is slightly important, not the most, but here we are. Level 0, non-essential personnel with no need to access any of the anomalous stuff. Janitors and whatnot. Confidential. Given to personnel working in proximity, but with no direct, indirect, or informal access to anomalous objects, blah, 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 blah. These are pretty much just going down the line. Secret, top secret, Thaumiel. This is the highest thing there. Here we go. The class of personnel. This is really what I wanted to get to because... Class A are those deemed essential to the Foundation and not allowed direct access to the anomalies under any circumstance. When circumstances require Class A personnel to be in direct proximity to some... I think I recorded a video just before this, and now I'm recording this, and I think it's getting a little long. When circumstances require Class A personnel to be in direct proximity to such anomalies, such as in the case of facilities housing containment units, Class A personnel are not allowed access to the areas of the facility containing such anomalies and are to be kept in secured areas at all times. In case of emergency, Class A personnel are to be immediately evacuated to a designated and secure offsite location. O5 council members are always Class A personnel. Class Bs are those determined or deemed essential to local Foundation operation, may only be granted access to objects, entities, and anomalies that have passed quarantine, have been cleared of any potentially mind-affecting effects, or memetic agents. In the event of a containment breach or hostile action against the Foundation facility, Class B personnel are to be evacuated to a designated secure off-site location. Class C personnel are personnel with dress. Class C personnel are personnel with direct access to most anomalies not deemed strictly hostile or dangerous. They have direct contact with potentially mind-affecting or memetic properties, or Class C personnel that have had direct contact with potentially mind-affecting or memetic properties may be subject to mandatory quarantine and psychiatric evaluation as deemed necessary by security personnel. In the event of a containment breach or hostile action against the Foundation facility, non-combatant Class C personnel are to either report to secure lockdown areas or evacuated at the discretion of on-site security personnel in case of a site-wide breach or other catastrophic event. Class D personnel are expendable personnel used to handle extremely hazardous anomalies and are not allowed to come in contact with Class A or Class B personnel. Class D personnel are typically drawn worldwide from the ranks of prison inmates convicted of violent crimes, especially those on death row. In times of duress, Protocol 12 may be enacted, which allows recruitment from other sources, such as political prisoners, refugee populations, and other civilian sources that can be transferred into Foundation custody under plausibly deniable circumstances. Class D personnel are to be given regular mandatory psychiatric evaluations, are to be administered an amnesiac of at least Class B strength or terminated at the end of the month at the discretion of on-site security or medical staff. In the event of a catastrophic site event, Class D personnel are to be terminated immediately, except as deemed necessary by on-site personnel. Security personnel. Class C, a provisional classification applied to field agents and containment personnel that have been exposed to potentially dangerous effects during the course of securing and establishing initial containment over a newly designated anomalous object, entity, or phenomena. Class C personnel are to be quarantined as soon as possible, monitored and screened for potentially harmful changes in behavior, personality, or psychology, and may only return to duty after being fully debriefed and cleared by psychiatric and medical staff. And then we've got a bunch of various titles. And O5 Council Member. The O5 Council refers to the committee consisting of the highest ranking directors of the Foundation, with complete access to all information regarding anomalies in containment. The O5 Council oversees all Foundation operation worldwide and directs its long-term strategic plans. Due to the sensitivity of their position, O5 Council members must not come into direct contact with any anomalous object, entity, or phenomena. Furthermore, the identity of all O5 council members is classified. All council members are referred to only by their numeric designation, O51 through O513. Lucky 13. There we go. I need to stop touching my nose so much. Groups of interest. Foundation is not the only group with an interest and investment in the paranormal and metaphysical. There are many other, checking the time, groups in existence who possess, use, or attempt to create SCP objects either for their own personal gain or for the protection of mankind. Some are rival organizations, some are splinter groups of the Foundation, and some are trusted associates of the Foundation. In any case, it is deemed necessary to create and distribute a brief on the agencies. I'm not going to go too far into any of this because there's a lot of them. And even with just a short little thing, there's a lot of them. Which is the one that I really like? There is one that Dr. Wondertainment. I love this one. Overview. Dr. Wondertainment, whether an individual or collective entity, is capable of producing anomalous artifacts and entities which thematically resemble children's toys. The nature of these objects and devices varies, although all were clearly intended to be utilized by children. In addition, Dr. Wondertainment is responsible for the creation of the Little Misters, anomalous humanoids altered for collectability. Dr. Wondertainment is known to have targeted Foundation personnel in the past, and their feelings toward the Foundation appear to be ambiguous. See the entry for Isabel Wondertainment on the personal dossier for more information. Links to the factory have been speculated, but unconfirmed. To see all documents tagged with Dr. Wondertainment, click here. And since it did specifically mention the factory, and this is a short one, the factory. Little is known about the factory. Excursions into facilities purported to be operated by them have yielded limited results, and no concrete conclusion has been reached except that they seem capable of manufacturing anomalous artifacts, and that they use mass production techniques to do so. So you could see why Dr. Wondertainment would love to work with the factory. But yeah, there's just a ton of these, and they're all really fun to look into. And I'm not going to go too much into this because, but I'm just going to read the basics of it. K-class scenarios are K-class scenarios are hypothetical situations that could have drastic effects on normality or reality, including the end of the world. Foundation games out what can happen in these events, and authors on the Wiki often reference these contingency plans, or times they have failed. This collaborative page exists to document all K-class scenarios. And disclaimers. There is no canon definition of any K-class scenario. This page should not be seen as a canonical resource. Please do not hassle authors for misusing. Don't harass people in general, please. The list is meant to be descriptive, not prescriptive. Definitions are based on usage in articles, not what anyone thinks they should mean. A bit on notation. Scenarios generally follow letter, K-class, description of the end of the world, scenario. K-class scenario and K-class event seems to be used interchangeable. There's no consistent logic. Capitalization. And there's the capitalization. Yeah, I'm not going to go into any of that right now. And here's this, just the SCP Foundation has discovered a substantial number of items which are simply too useless to merit further attention. This document lists those items which have prompted some curiosity and may be used as a resource should knowledge of these items become useful or necessary in the future. And this list is no longer open to new entries, but is part of the series, and most recent which is open to new additions. So, lots of entries. 1 through 10. Number 1. And I'm not going to read more of these, I'm just reading this first one. An unbreakable lamp. Data recovery and location redacted. Current status. Kept in Dr. Wright's office on site. Blank. Notes. This was one of the first items categorized as anomalous and denied full SCP classification due to lack of value in further research and little need for special containment. It's a lamp that doesn't break. It's anomalous. Isn't that fun? Okay. Now I think that leaves us. Guideline. Yeah, I think with that, we are good to go to the one article I'm going to read. And this should give you a bit of an idea of, well, actually, I don't know how long it is, so maybe not. 173. You'll note a lack of a picture. There's a bit of a history with that. I'll read the article and then give a little bit of explanation. Item number SCP-173. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time and doors be locked or relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: moved to Site 19 in 1993. Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brains. It is a long video. We're nearing an hour. Whoops. With traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origins of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. 173 is the first, which is why I read it for this. It seemed thematic. Number one. You know what? Oh, cool. I guess I just have a not actually silent member. Fair enough. I didn't think of that. Now we know. Anyway, like I said, this is the first. If you've heard of SCPs before, you've probably seen 173. Sort of. There was a bit of a copyright scuffle, or not really a scuffle. They used an image for SCP-173. And it was that image for a long while. I'm not going to show that image out of respect for the parties involved, because at some point, the original creator of that image decided, you know what? I don't like that you're just using my image. Fair enough. Their image. And so now the image is gone. There there is nothing deeper than that. Well, that is what I know of the event. And here we are. No image. But that's fine. You get what you need from this. Um this is actually kind of short, so it's probably not going to be a good judgment of how future reads are going to go. Um I I felt it was in here. There's a bunch of joke ones. But every sentence is cross-linked. Whatever. I- Wasn't it explained? I don't think it wasn't explained. Oh, Demon Core. Is this what I think it is? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. But yeah. See that's or actually I don't really know, I guess, technically. It could be any because these are all this. I need to stop because clearly my voice is not giving up. But here we are. I am going to click that link though. I clicked that link. Oh, it's loading. It's kind of hard to see when I have that hidden. Cancel that. Might as well. We'll just end on this page where you can see the entirety of this. There we go. I'm not going to use this as the thumbnail or anything, but here we are. I really enjoy SCP. It's a thing that over the years, not quite since the very start, I didn't quite get into it at that point, but definitely soon after. Because I remember it during college, which would be like a year or two afterwards. There was like a good amount of articles, or maybe not even a full year, but a good amount of articles already. I've actually read most of series 1. My plans going forward is depending on the size, like videos specifically for each article, eventually going into various stories and stuff, looking into the various things. The lore and stuff involved are all pretty interesting to me, and if it's interesting to me, I figured some of you probably like it. And it's very like this channel was originally a lore channel. I am not capable of doing that at the moment. It takes more research at the computer. I've been now sitting for like an hour and a half, including the first video, and it's not fun. So I need to mostly save my chair time for writing my stories, which is my main job. I'm an author with a Patreon, and I do mostly fantasy lit RPG stuff. I enjoy that. Makes me some money. A lot, especially not nowadays, but that's life. So, because I love the lore, this was technically a lore channel, and I enjoy reading. I'm going to choose an article from one an article from the newest one, and then a random article, and basically cycle it through that way. So, like, here I read 173. Next one would be from like 10. When did the 10 start? I don't know. But yeah, one would be from 10, and then the other would be that there was the random button, and I just boom, random. And I'm going to do that for a while just to like get our feet wet, get a feel for what things are like right now. Probably look up like a reading guide to not be entirely random or just one after another, and figure out things from there. And once I've done a few of those, I'll probably dip into other stories where it's like not just like this is the thing, this is what happened, here's what's going on. Hopefully, you enjoy it. And I do not blame anyone that does not watch this video. However, it is here to give basically a broad, rambling, probably unneeded overview to it all, because you could go read it yourself. But here we are. So, yeah, this is Akhier, and I'm signing off.